All right, so Dallas area, Little Elm has a new 70.3, or I'm guessing they probably used to race there, non-Ironman events or whatnot. Um, but I'm signed up to go to that, and then I'm signed up to go to the Gulf Coast 70.3 in May, and then Lake Placid. So there's been some schedule and work changes, so I'm not sure basically what I'm going to make it to. um, which is one thing that's always hard about signing up for these high dollar races is like life changes, especially when you have kids, and it's hard to know far out for some of these races that do sell out, or the full Ironmans or whatnot. Some of those do sell out, or the really popular 70.3s. Like this Dallas one, it sold out like right away, and that told me that people were excited about it probably, and it's new. But looking at the course, I don't know much about it, but it looks like it's a little outside of town, and it looks like a really good course. So yeah, hopefully I can get there. But how do you plan training when you don't really know when you're gonna race, right? And listen, I'm still learning. I'm not by any means an expert at this stuff, but what I've learned over the 5 years or so that I've been doing this is that, like, we take it a little too serious at the amateur level if you haven't figured that out yet. And if you try to get your mind more level and not be so fixated on, all right, I'm gonna do a big base training, and then I'm gonna do periodization, and I'm gonna hit it intense, 10 weeks before, then taper off, and then go race, right? Sometimes you can do that, feel like you nailed it, and just have a terrible race, right? So I think we need to normalize kind of listening to our body a little bit more, and just not being afraid to jump on a race because it works well with your schedule, whether it's a local race or an Ironman race, and just jump in and do what you can. Make this sport more about just getting the most out of yourself on any given day, and more over times, because I can tell you right now, all right, so the most in shape I ever was for Galveston 70.3 3 years ago or 2 years ago, and I bonked down on the run with a couple miles left, right? And I was on track for a sub 5, which was my goal, and just the heat got me, and I overbiked a little bit, and guess what? I could have brought her down probably 15-20 watts, and instead of doing a 221 or 222, I could have done a 230, and been fine and still hit my goal. That was a mistake, right? But also, I could have done that 222 and nailed the run, and I felt great about it. Sometimes you just don't know. Like, that's something that's so hard about the sport. Like, you can even follow your plan perfectly and still have issues on that day. I don't know why the body does what the body does the way it does, but some days it just shows up. So you got to stay in the sport for a while, and one of these days, one of these races, it'll show up for you. Challenging yourself with these events, it's more about just being active and moving and looking good and feeling good. Now, when you plan races, remember that after that race, you kind of have a little bit of a slump and depression, right? So if you don't put too much on one specific race, I feel like you can even out your effort through the year to where you're not burnt out by the fall, which I've done that before. And your mind, you're not thinking about this big high on this race day. Okay, I'm peak shape, I get that, but you can stay in pretty good shape all year and jump on some specific training for whatever event you sign up for down the road that pops up, and just jump in and do it, and just keep doing that and keep building a base. And you know, whatever happens, happens. I mean, yeah, you're always wanting to get better, but you have to take this for what it is. All right, it's just exercise for a long period of time, and it's just challenging yourself to be better, look better, feel better. There's many ways to do it. You might take a break and go do just running, or maybe life gets busy. And if my life gets too busy this year, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do the Flying Pig Marathon regardless. Guess what's the week after that? Gulf Coast. I'm still gonna do the marathon. Why? Because I like the experience. Will it hinder me the next week? Maybe. Most people would say yes, but I'll tell you what. Go do a full this year, Texas. Got my ass kicked really bad, and I did everything right on heart rate, and I still got my ass kicked. Probably had something to do with the heat, but I went and did St. George 2 weeks after that, right? Go do a full, and then 2 weeks later do a half, and tell me it's like swinging a baseball bat with a donut on it, I swear, and then taking it off. That's what I would compare it to. Like, it's like, oh my gosh, you know, that swim is so short compared to a full. Like, I mean, it just feels like you're in the water forever. So St. George was good. I swam a 36. My bike was a little soft, but my run was about where I would expect it. It was really hot. It's like 90 that day. So I did like a 540, 525 or 527. Something like that. Hell, I can't remember, to be honest with you. But me and my brother were within like 90 seconds of each other, so pretty cool. But my point is, sometimes you're gonna hit it hard, sometimes you're not. The biggest thing you gotta understand about getting into sport is enjoy the process. How often do you race? Twice a year, once a year, maybe 10 times a year. It doesn't matter. What are you spending most of your time doing? The training, right? Life is all about that. It's never really about the result. I mean, even the guys at the top level of sport will say, you know, you win a championship, I'm a supercross guy, or whatever. You win that. The next day, you're back to where you started. Not started, but you're back restarting, thinking about the next thing. So the result will be what the result is. And over time, with a lot of results, you can kind of learn more about yourself. But like anything else, you gotta stay in it for a while. And some days you have a bad race, but don't walk away from that with your cup half full mentality, because guess what? You still have a fucking cup. So you get to train again and do it again and enjoy the process again. And like, do I want to be a little leaner? That's something I always struggle with. I got a lot of mass up top. When I get down to, you know, 189, 187 instead of 195, I run faster, even at the same fitness, just because I weigh like things like that. What am I gonna work on? How do I feel the best? But yeah, just enjoy it. As you get older, you don't necessarily have to get that much slower. You can change things. The intensity, like certain things might change. You might have to warm up longer. But I mean, I'm in the best shape of my life at 38. You know, these last few years, and it's because of the sport. But I also, like, coming from a background of lifting weights, I have not given that up completely. And I know if I gave that up, ate like a bird, but healthy enough and figured it all out, then I would probably be able to, you know, drastically go faster. I mean, muscle creates heat, it burns energy, but it also makes you strong and less injuries too. Like, so there's just so many things to balance. You gotta find out what you're happy. If you run a 4-hour marathon and you're happy running a 4-hour marathon and you don't want to give up this or that, then just be a guy that runs a 4-hour marathon. You're still in great shape. I mean, that's the thing. It's not about what you think the world thinks you should be, as far as, oh, always getting better, world championships. Listen, if I got a slot, I'd probably go if I had enough funds, or wanted to spend that much funds on that. But I ain't gonna do it if my retirement's not funded the way I want for that year, or I'm not gonna do it if I'm behind on my kids' college savings, or you know what I mean? That'd be kind of stupid to spend $20,000 to go to Hawaii to, when I don't have the money for my own ego. Like, at the end of the day, you get put in the ground and nobody cares. Nobody's gonna remember that you went there, especially after like 2 generations. Nobody remember your damn name. I swear. Think about it. What's your great-great-great-grandpa's name? 4 generations. You probably don't know. You could probably find it out. He plays a part in your life, but your genes, who you are, what you become. But nobody's gonna goddamn remember you. So do what makes you feel good. Do what's you. That doesn't mean you can't push yourself and hold yourself accountable. So that's kind of my advice to somebody starting this process. It's niche, right? Going to the pool. Like, what are the rules? Oh, you go to YMCA, you signed up for a lane. There says there's 8 lanes available. You signed up for a lane, right? You go in, all the lanes are full. All the lanes have 1 person in them. You may not know that that lane is always a 2-person lane. You always do 2 people in the lane. You may not know that. So, anyways, these are just little things, right? Like bike stuff, power meters, setting up your bike, road etiquette. Just you learn all these little things. But that's part of being uncomfortable with whatever we're doing. And, that's kind of what it's all about. Who cares if you look like an idiot? Nobody's going to remember you. Yeah, you're probably going to go try to learn to swim and look just like me and be gassed after 25. You've heard a ton of people say, I couldn't swim 50 yards. No shit, I couldn't swim 50 yards, man. That's honestly what I take the most pride in out of all of that. Swimming a full, actually swimming that distance, it scared the living shit out of me. And I did it with no wetsuit. And I could have wore one. It was 0.1. It was Ironman Texas 2025. It was right at the tent. It was a brutal ass swim. And I made it. And it completely wrecked me and probably had a little bit to do with what happened at mile 23 on the run. But I lived, I learned. Going back, I would have wore a wetsuit, but guess what? I wanted to do it the way it was supposed to be done. I knew I wasn't going to finish up top. Or, why would you not wear one? Well, I ain't going to make a world champion, I'll tell you that right now. So, I just wanted to do it the way everybody else was, but then I look back and I'm like, holy shit, most people wore wetsuits. So, but you learn. Next time I probably wear my shorty wetsuit. Yeah, man, swimming 2.4 miles, you can do that. You can always do it. Those are the things we forget about as goals. We always think about what others around us. You don't know their life, where they came from, what they did. Think about you and how you're progressing in the sport. And that will make it fun for you. I bought $13,000-$14,000 bikes in DNF. Do you feel it's pretty dumb? Yeah. The first time I ever rode, I had a $1,500 Scott Plasma 10. I think it was still the best bike I've ever done. I averaged 240 watts in 70.3 Virginia, which is a brutal bike course, about 4,500 feet of elevation, more than St. George. Crushed it. I don't know if I've executed the bike in that good sense. It was really good weather though too, so that was like, but my point is, then I have a Canyon Speed Max and DNF race, you know what I'm saying? But remember what matters most in the way you get the most bang out of your buck is looking into yourself. And I have to learn that every day, trust me. But I just did a 48 minutes at 237 watts, kicked my ass. Feel wore out, so I'm just cooling down now. But I just want to put that video out there. If you're thinking about getting into triathlon or Ironman, I think it's growing. I think the endurance sports realm is growing, and it's actually getting very extreme too, to the point where people are like, well, I need to go do a half marathon. Used to be a big deal for people. It still is. Don't feel like less because of social media. Find what's your niche and just be the best version of you. It sounds so cliche, but it's true. It really is. It's so true. But so yeah, enjoy the journey. Don't be afraid of it. Take it slow. Train hard, train intense. See yourself develop. See those legs start popping with veins everywhere. Seeing that mitochondria just grow and grow. That's what's all about the base training. Making your mitochondria stronger, adding more. That's that zone 2. That's what makes you, you might have a guy that can do the same 5 intervals as another guy, right? At hit the power. But what the big base does for you, it lets you recover faster to do it again. That's what people always say. It's always about the power. You can have a guy that can actually do less power, but he recovers faster, right? So that's what that's all about. Big part of it. Don't rush into the crazy stuff. Anyways, yeah, enjoy the journey. Maybe I'll see you out there one day.